Now, it wasn't much of fun, believe me, but I had to do it 2 weeks before I really could start out to Romania.
Shula led a group that included 6 young Zionists who had escaped from Poland, and Ruth Kurzweil, a 17-year-old whose parents entrusted her to Shula, only 19 herself. On the train, they aroused the suspicion of the Hungarian civil detectives, who roamed the train cars or wagons looking for Jews.
I went from one wagon to the other to tell the people that when we go off, they shall follow me, not to get lost. And when I came back, I saw there the civil detective. So I went back to tell the people not to follow me when they arrived to the last station. And I asked Ruth to go with any one of the other fellows, but she didn't want it to. She insisted coming with me. I couldn't argue on the train with her, so unfortunately, we both were cut, we both landed in jail.
Shula finally had to admit that their papers were false, that she and Ruth were Jewish. The girls were imprisoned in a cell full of prostitutes.
Naturally, we get a language that we never heard before in our lives. And we get so scared, we get more scared from them than from the police. We didn't know what to answer. And we didn't know, we were afraid to sit down because we figured if we sit down, we will get syphilis right then and there. So we were standing in the corner and we didn't say a word. We didn't open our mouths. We didn't know how to answer. The first time in my life that I couldn't know how to answer somebody. When they find out that we are Jewish, they were very nice to us, believe it or not. When the police wanted to do us something, they come to our help. So they said, if you want a girl, take us, leave them alone. So they were really very decent to us, and naturally we shared our food with them. The problem was that they were let out after a couple of days, and we weren't let out after a couple of days. I wanted to escape from the jail. And I was that time 19 years old, and I saw the film Monte Cristo before. And I saw Monte Cristo escaping from his jail. So I figured if he can, why can't I? I have a small hand. So I decided to open the jail door and walk out. So Ruth came with me, we walked out, we didn't get very far, needless to say, and we got caught.
Shula and Ruth were moved to a prison in Budapest, and from there to a transit camp to await deportation. Despite Shula's continuing efforts to devise an escape, the girls soon found themselves on their way to the death camps of Poland.
It took, I think, a week to get to Auschwitz. You don't forget a transport like that. You were stuffed in like animals, and you could hardly breathe, and you could hardly sit down, and you get nothing to eat. Naturally, when we get to Auschwitz, everything was taken away from everybody. You were thrown out, rush, 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 and Mengele was standing there and sending the old people and the young children right to the gas chambers, and the other ones left, and that was the end of story. They took 3,000 people over to Birkenau, where the gas chambers were, and we were standing before the gas chambers hours. And a young Polish girl, Jewish girl, was standing before us, and her job was to watch us standing before the gas chamber. I said to her, look, let us in already, let's have it over with. What the heck, we are standing here hours and hours and suffering from the heat and everything else. So she said to me, wait, don't rush, you never know what happens. And she was right.
An unexpected order came from Stutthof. Another concentration camp. The waiting Jews were sent there.
It was September, it was a beautiful weather, and we went from Auschwitz to Stutthof, and I remember with all my trouble I enjoyed the scenery. You get there, where the soldiers lived, it was gardens and flowers, and just like you have arrived in heaven. You walk through the gate, and you get to hell.
Shula and Ruth were taken into the forest with other women. They were forced to dig trenches designed to stop Russian tanks from advancing against the Germans. Shula was appointed the head of her work group.
In the beginning, I told them how many, and I saw that we get so much work that the people simply are unable to finish it on time. As the weather gets worse and worse, I saw that it's an impossible situation. I have to do something.
Shula devised a way to hide some of her workers in the woods, while the Polish overseers went from group to group assigning tasks. With seemingly fewer people, her group received a smaller workload.
So naturally, we were ready before everybody else was ready. And that way, we could go faster back to the camp, and our two soldiers were happy. So we get much less beaten up from the soldiers. And I hoped, for my luck, that I will not be cut.